The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Indiana, Caitlin Clark watching, and maybe she could have helped the Pacers' cause because it was all Cat tonight and all Josh Hart. Towns had 40. Josh Hart had 19 of his 30 in the second half. And the Knicks got great help as well off the bench. And they get back out of the win column, winning tonight 128-115. Great to have you with us, everyone, from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Hahn and Wally Szczerbiak. Guys, Jalen Brunson played only 22 minutes, Alan. Picked up his fifth foul early in the third. Really didn't play a lot the rest of the way. Had his season-low 8 points, and it didn't matter. Knicks got help from just about everybody else.
Including Karl-Anthony Towns. Whatever we said in the pregame about him struggling to finish at the rim, throw it out. I mean, he just absolutely dominated this game when he's also going up against guys 6'8". He did exactly what a big man should do when the other team's big men are not available, is that you take control of the game and you dominate. And the stat to watch was points in the paint, because two teams that score a lot in the paint. The Knicks had 68 in this game. That's where they won it, Wally.
Yeah, they got a lot of easy layups. This Indiana team has been playing really good basketball. We talked about it, 13-4 since the new year hit. They did not look like a team that's been 13-4. Their defense, without Miles Turner, they had no resistance at the rim, couldn't get anything going offensively, couldn't create any mismatches like the Celtics were creating just a couple nights ago, where the Knicks really struggled to stop them defensively. But overall, this is a great win. When Brunson only scores 8 points. Karl-Anthony Towns steps up big. Josh Hart had really struggled against Boston a game ago, put that one in his rearview mirror, came out with 30 tonight, just got whatever he wanted. He looked like the most aggressive player out there on the floor, just wanted the ball more, wanted the layups more, and he willed his team to a win tonight.
Miles Turner out with a concussion, also a bit of a neck problem, and they really missed him trying to defend Karl-Anthony Towns. Look at Towns, 40 points, 24 in the first half, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. And Wally, Josh Hart with 30, 12 of 16 from the floor. That's a season high in terms of points for Hart. And Towns was especially important in the first half.
He was incredible. Like, he got whatever he wanted, and he's sprinkling in those threes. That thumb's starting to feel a little better. He made 3 threes tonight, but there's just no defense for him. They had no one on the roster that could match up with his size and his strength, especially. They tried Obi Toppin on him a few times. Here's Obi trying to guard him. That's not going to work. I can tell you that. I mean, Towns just putting it down, putting his head down, getting to his right hand, and just flexing all night long. I mean, a big-time performance by Karl-Anthony Towns. Imagine if they would have had him against the Pacers last year in the playoffs.
Of course.
It would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
So he was just, and I love this play. We're going to take a look at this at the wall. I mean, that is a grown man move right there. I didn't think he was going to be able to get that one up at the basket, but he just went go-go gadget arms and just threw it on 2 guys. I mean, that was big time. That
go-go gadget arms.
Inspector Gadget on us in the Wayback Machine. You talk about points in the paint. He was 11 of 14 in the painted area, right?
Yeah.
And Hart was 11 of 13. These two combined for 44 points in the paint, 22 of 27. So the efficiency in finishing in the paint at the rim the way they were, but especially Towns. This is what you do. With a 7-footer, they don't have one.
Yep.
And you take advantage of the size. It's literally what they did. And Towns was ready for this matchup tonight and absolutely dominated.
So Brunson with the 8. Mikal Bridges, by the way, only scored 6. So even more important that Hart goes for a season-high 30.
Yes, 30 points for Josh Hart. Now, all 5 starters have had at least a 30-point game this season. It just shows you the versatility of this team. And for Hart, it's not necessarily always been about scoring for him. It's about whatever the flow of the game calls for. And as Wally pointed out, with no real resistance at the rim, Hart was doing a lot of cutting and his usual stuff where he'll run the floor hard. Cat got a turnover here, and he led the break. Imagine your 7-footer leading the break and passing to your 6'4" guy with the finish. And then, of course, the extra energy he always brings on the boards, just his willingness to compete. But you're seeing here, again, him going and attacking the basket, him trying to get offensive rebounds and tips, no one blocking out, just not a ton of size on the floor for the Pacers. And so when you play as hard as Josh Hart does, you can take advantage of it. And you remember this from back in December around Christmas. Fans said not tweeting until Josh Hart scores 30. And Josh Hart replied, "That ain't my job, brother. See you on the other side." Tonight, it was his job. And it was very easy for him to get to that 30.
All right, guys, let us now bring in Monica McNutt. As always, she helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, got to mention the bench. Campaign, 9 points, 8 assists. Deuce McBride, a plus 25 with 15 points. And Landry Shamet, a season-high 11. Those three guys were key.
Terrific outcome from your bench productivity. And I can't do quick math. I know you got how many points that was in total, Hahn, over there. But let me say this. We talked to Cameron Payne for our postgame interview on the radio, and he said that the importance of going into the break with the right momentum. He was just impressing upon some of the guys as a veteran voice. You know, we don't want to look back and look at these two games and think, we should have gotten those when we come back from the break. And so the focus that we saw tonight is not happenstance at all, from Karl-Anthony Towns all the way down. I think this team understands that as we turn the calendar toward late February and March, it's going to be a hunt, y'all, in terms of getting seedings as far as the postseason is concerned, as the regular season turns up.
And Monica, you can't help but look at the standings and see that the Pacers had climbed right behind the Knicks in the standings. So this was an important win for them to get. When you watch Karl-Anthony Towns in that game on Saturday night, the Celtics really looked like a bigger team. They put a lot of big bodies on him and frustrated him. The Pacers didn't have any big bodies. They tried to throw as many guys as they could at him. But did you just see the biggest difference being the fact that he was just bigger than everybody else and he got it done in the paint?
I think that's a big part of it, but I also would chalk that up to mindset, right? I think anytime, y'all know as hoopers, you have an experience that is less than memorable, you'll say, there's nothing you want more than to get that taste out of your mouth. And so I thought the level of aggressiveness tonight from Karl-Anthony Towns is key number one. And then, yes, the matchup was certainly favorable. There was a moment in the fourth quarter, he settles for the little short jumper over T.J. McConnell, comes up short. The next possession down, same spot, goes to his left, gets, I believe, fouled, or if not, at a minimum, finishes at the rim. And so I just think as he continues to calibrate where he can be most aggressive, he's done a great job tonight in particular of scoring in the paint.
Monica, Jalen Brunson, lowest scoring performance of the season, 8 points, yet his running mate and his roommate, Josh Hart, comes up with 30 big ones. How did he do it tonight?
In the flow of the game, Wally, in the absolute flow of the game. I mean, slipping back door, getting to the rim, second chance opportunities, going to the free throw line. Like, that was a quiet 30, at least until you look at the fourth quarter. And, you know, we're accustomed to being on triple-double and double-double watch. But you're like, wait a minute, this is the next guy that's carrying the scoring load because for a long time there, it was just Karl-Anthony Towns. And so I just love, and Josh Hart said this on his roommate's podcast, he talked about accepting roles, right? And now that he's fully clear on how to be a servant, as he says, to the rest of his teammates, he's actually having one of his better personal years, but it's not about his personal accomplishments. It's about being the best player he can be, being a star in his role, and he did that tonight for sure.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great trip home, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Knicks playing host to Atlanta. Hart, by the way, also had double-digit rebounds, 30 points. He had 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Tom Thibodeau's Knicks are now 35-18. Wally Wall and the coach's post-game comments coming up.
Got a technical tonight, too.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Tomorrow night, it's the Knicks' last game before the All-Star break. Atlanta's in town. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. Knicks win tonight over the Pacers by 13. Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments presented by Chase.
Yeah, I thought, obviously Jalen being in foul trouble, but I thought our bench came in and gave us a big lift. I loved the way Cam and Deuce and Landry played, and Cat had a monster game. And then, of course, what Josh did was, it's what we needed to win. So he was everywhere, flying around, doing everything. So good team win, good bounce back, and then they keep coming. Then we got to be ready for Atlanta tomorrow. It was huge. Obviously, when Jalen goes down like that, and Cat was in foul trouble as well. So I thought Precious gave us good minutes throughout. But Mikhail, his defense, Halliburton's tough cover, McConnell's a tough cover, Siakam tough cover, Matherin tough cover, right? So that team is outstanding. Offensive team. They can put a lot of points up on the board, and they can make up ground quickly. No lead feels safe. And so, and then I love the way we shared the ball. I thought guys were making plays for each other, and when you play like that, it makes the game easy.
It feels like a few times over the last few weeks, you guys have really dominated on the second chance points in the offensive glass. going big, obviously that helps. How have you seen that impact other teams in the way you guys are able to kind of create offense, even if things aren't?
Yeah, the rebounding, we always say defend, rebound, low turnover. So those three things we want to be constant. So to win on the road, I think your rebounding is paramount. You got to rebound, and so and they're moving, they're in constant motion. So you got to go find bodies, and so I thought we did that tonight. We had a number of guys, fighting for the ball, but more importantly, putting their bodies on people.
How much was Cat always? I mean, when you had him in Minnesota, was he this good of a passer?
He's probably a little better now because I think he has much better understanding of the game, and he understands when double teams are coming, where the holes are. So I think experience has really helped him. He's always had amazing. He's had guard-like skills. The way he shoots, the way he can put it on the floor. But he didn't see the whole floor the way he sees the whole floor now. And when guys cut, they know if they cut and they're open, he'll hit them.
All right, so our game summary as the Knicks are able to win by the count of 128-115. Let us now go to Wally and Allen at the Wally Wall.
Thank you, Bill. And you mentioned it before the end of the first segment. Tom Thibodeau's first tech of the season. He never gets them. But early in the second,
used it wisely.
Had to get it, had to let the officials know.
Yep.
And then from that point forward, the Knicks really played very well. And, again, in the pregame show, we mentioned some issues that the Knicks had on Saturday night. One of them was pick and roll defense. Yep. The Pacers run a lot of pick and roll. Now, they didn't have Miles Turner, so they didn't have a pick and pop guy, but they still were trying to run it with Halliburton. And there were some instances we saw the Knicks much improved defensively, like we'll show here.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this one where Landry Shamet does a great job fighting over the screen. Look at him fight over that screen, freeze it there. Then Karl Anthony Towns, he's in good position, and he doesn't have to worry about getting out to Thomas Bryant as much because he's not much of a three-point shooter. Here, Halliburton tries to turn the corner. This is good positioning by Jalen Brunson. The hedge right there knocks the ball a little bit. And then Karl Anthony Towns, good congestion here, not a lot of space, not a lot of angles for a pass to be made or a guy to slip to the basket. Towns, good job, gets the steal. And then Towns is off and running. Nice bounce pass to Josh Hart. These two guys took over the offense for most of the second half with Jalen Brunson not in the lineup. And this is a really good play by Josh Hart, just running the floor, just taking advantage of the undisciplined Indiana Pacers. They are very undisciplined at times defensively, and a guy like Josh Hart's going to make you pay with offensive rebounds, slashes, cuts, and drives to the basket.
Yeah, Josh Hart, he was the second half story, but in the first half it was Towns with 24 points, and not just that defense, not just that assists, but this dunk baseline that you got to see again.
Yeah, this is a great angle, too. You can see the emotions that happen in a game. Karl Anthony Towns, here he has the ball, and Jalen Brunson just inbounded it to him, so he's like waiting for him to get out of the way. Now freeze it there. He's like, can I get there? I got one more step. Look, he barely keeps his foot in. It's almost out of bounds. Thomas Bryant's like, uh-oh, I hope I got some help behind me. Neesmith's like, game time decision. I'm out of there. I'm just going to get dunked on. And Karl Anthony Towns looks around like, you can't guard me, dude. Nope. Sorry. There's 40-piece chicken nuggets right there. Take that with you.
40 pieces. People need to understand, though, Wally, he's going baseline. He was behind the backboard.
I know.
And then
one big step, and then he came like this with two hands. To get that dunk in there, I didn't think he was going to be able to get up there.
That's an impressive dunk.
That was impressive.
Yeah, but the stare.
Go Gadget arms.
Even more impressive. More Inspector Gadget. Who knew? I wonder if Bill Pidto can do that kind of a stare down.
I can't carry Wally's tune, I'll tell you that right now. Knicks are back at it tomorrow night, home to the Hawks. It's the last game before the All-Star break. We'll see it for the pregame at 7 and the game at 7:30. Knicks beat the Pacers tonight, 128-115. So, as you take a look at the standings, Pacers with a win tonight would have been what, Alan? Within
3 games back.
Yeah.
That's why when you go head-to-head, it's a 2-game swing. You got to win those games. Knicks extend their lead over the Pacers to 5 in the loss column.
Yeah, so that's obviously important as the Knicks bounce back after losing to the Celtics on Saturday. Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. You know who was superior tonight off the bench? The bench completely from Shamet and Payne. And how about Deuce McBride, a plus 25 with
Yep.
15 points?
He was outstanding. He came in that game, hit 3 big threes with no Jalen Brunson, struggling a little bit. The Knicks needed every bucket they could get, and Deuce McBride was ready to go. His defense was really good, too. This is the team that, they can score. And Deuce goes out there, known for his defense, and ball was moving. And, that's a fun gym to shoot in, that field house there. It's a good shooter's gym.
How's the lighting there, Wally? Good lighting?
Very good lighting, very good crowd, very good atmosphere. And as a road team, it's a nice feeling to go in there and get a big-time win. Deuce McBride, really good at 15 points off the bench.
He's also another one of these guys that coming off a bad game, it didn't affect him whatsoever. What you liked about him in this game is he came in shooting. Mm-hmm. He did not hesitate. He got to his spots. He was quick with his release. I mean, those are the things that are impressive about, as we're seeing, the maturation process of Deuce McBride becoming a valuable bench player for this Knicks team. So, again, the Knicks this season have really proven that off of a bad game, they have responded well and collectively. And that's what we saw in this game, not just from a guy like Karl Anthony Towns or Josh Hart, but also from Deuce McBride.
Yeah.
Another good game in terms of Knicks tonight. Precious Achiuwa.
Yeah.
Tied Towns for team high rebounding honors with 12. Also had 9 points. We've talked about this. When Achiuwa starts like he did tonight in place of OG Anunoby, he often is close to a double-double.
And again, mentioned another guy that really struggled against Boston, and another guy that bounced back and didn't let it bother him. He just was ready to play in this game. And you can't say enough about how he has filled in whenever he is needed. If it's Karl Anthony Towns who had to sit out a game or a couple of games, he has stepped up and has played in that role. OG Anunoby now has been out. Achiuwa stepping up, playing in that role, more of the 4 spot. These are the different things that he always says. His versatility is something that I think Achiuwa is very proud of. Whatever you need from me, that's what he can provide. And that's, again, another one of the examples of resiliency on this team. A guy that had a bad game against Boston and didn't let it linger.
And he likes games with pace. When teams play fast, Precious Achiuwa is fine with that. He's so athletic. He can play different positions. Yep. He really thrives against teams like Indiana, who come in with waves of different guys coming off the bench. He can guard different guys. It doesn't matter.
He was bigger than almost everybody else they brought in at the 4, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. He can play down if you need him to play down, and he can guard up if you need him to guard up. And when you let him play a lot of possessions, he's going to compile rebounds, especially. Mm-hmm. He's going to find ways to get offensive rebounds, little putbacks here and there, which Josh Hart also did. So another big-time performance. Precious Achiuwa is always ready for however minutes he gets to produce.
All right, role players coming up big, including Campaign. We've touched on him. 9 points, 8 assists. Here he is now after the game.
Cameron, long stretch for you in the third quarter, fourth quarter, running the offense. What was your approach with Brunson on the bench in foul trouble?
Just to be super solid. Make sure we got into our sets. Just make sure everything kept running properly while he was out. Push the pace, and, man, just keep being myself out there.
37 assists, a lot of those on back cuts. What does that say to the movement, the ball movement tonight?
Nah, we did well. 37 assists is big time. We just tried to converse the defense, get in the paint, and tried to find the cutters, and they was there and they was open tonight.
In the preseason, Tibbs talked about what he wanted to see from you, Shamet, and Deuce, just the kind of pace you guys could play with. Obviously, his injury kind of derailed that, but in camp, were you guys kind of starting to build a little bit of chemistry?
For sure, just a little bit. We were all new, we still learn each other. But it was big time in the preseason. We all played together all preseason, so it was pretty nice to get us back out there tonight. And Lambeau, shout out Lambeau, he played good tonight.
All right, so you had good games from Shamet and McBride and Payne. Also want to point out that Indiana went only 9 of 31 from 3. 3-point defense has been a problem for the Knicks.
Yeah.
In fact, they're dead last in the league in that category. But the Pacers shot only 29% from downtown.
That was a good job. And a guy like Nesmith, he thrives on those corner threes. He didn't get many looks from that corner 3. I don't think the Knicks were in rotations that often. They were able to control the pick and roll. Normally, Halliburton's flying off those screens. He's breaking down the defense. Ball's flying all over the place. Knicks are in scramble mode. But tonight, the Knicks really adjusted their pick and roll defense and did a good job.
All right, so the Knicks win at 128-115. Cat with 40 and 12. We'll be back with more after this. Stay with us, everybody. So tomorrow night, for the Knicks' last game before the All-Star break, the Hawks are in town, and then the Knicks are off until a week from Thursday. They'll be at Chicago, followed up by a game against the Cavs. The Chicago game's a home game. They'll be at the Cavs a week from Friday. We will wrap things up right after this. We are wrapping up the Knicks postgame show. Tomorrow night, Knicks back at it at home against Atlanta. And then it's the All-Star break. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus, now in the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.